this is kind of crazy of what I'm thinking about right now, and this is still just like kind of sales related information. So if you're into sales stuff, this video might not be for you, but I figure I might as well just relay that before I get into today's discussion or topic around why I still believe sales is probably one of the most lucrative careers that anybody can do. Because today what I was doing was I ended up running a lot of my numbers for my last sales job that I had before I ended up taking off 18 months, which, case in point, if you weren't aware of this, sales allowed for me to take off 18 months, year and a half from work, and hike and bike and just kind of chill out a lot and understand my emotions and just grow as an overall human being and person so that I could become more of a man to be able to have a real lifelong relationship with a woman in the future. So that's been a very, sales presented me with that option, which to me is why I'm so passionate about sales and kind of maybe hopefully inspiring you to get in sales and maybe start that as your career. So when I was running my numbers and I was looking at this, just like running all the numbers and the Excel sheet and everything that I had done, was this last quarter in the current sales job that I'm in right now, I made an extra like 2 or 3K than all the other quarters that I had previously, which for me, I thought that and I mean, maybe it's different because the other commission checks, whenever I receive them, they would also be taken out of like my 401k and would be deposited in there, whereas this commission check wasn't necessarily, but like the total overall commission for the quarter was, I think, $3-ish grand higher than any of the other previous commission checks that I had for the quarter. So that was super exciting for me to see. And then just like looking at all the numbers around how much I had made in like a year, I think the full 2 years that I was there selling for the company that I was selling for, I believe that if I remember these numbers correctly, it was around 104,000-ish or so for the 2-year period. And that was just in commission. And when I say just in commission, that was also after taxes, 401ks, any other sort of expenses that had to be taken out of the pay. I cannot remember the total amount that I had that was not take home at that point in time. That was just like the overall, what would that be, gross income for the 2 years that I was there. I probably should have ran those numbers, did not, so apologize for that. But that was the 2 years for me doing the sales, and I wanted to prove to myself or see was I actually as good at sales as I thought it was. Because when I first started at the company, I had a base salary of $45,000, and within 6 months, I believe, about 7 months-ish, 6.5, 7 months, I was promoted up to the next tier at the company, which then brought my base salary up from $45,000 to $5,000 or $50,000, which that increased my overall base salary. And I've always been a proponent, and this is probably what some other people online may disagree with. There's just a sticker on the car that I saw that said I saw that, and then it was dash karma or whatever it was. So that was pretty neat. But yeah, it's the second tier was when I got into the second ability to that's where I got that $5,000 bonus or whatever it was, which this is where the different people differentiate from other salespeople out there that I can see is they'll tell you to get a 1099 job or go sell cars or go do a pyramid scheme or whatever it is, and I'm no, go into a company that has, and I've said this beforehand in some other videos, if you've heard this, my bad, but I gotta reiterate it for anybody that's new. Go into a job or a sales career where you're gonna have a base pay of some sort, along with health, dental, vision, 401k, some additional benefits as well too. Because at least from my perspective, that's showing that the company's taking a bet on you as much as you're taking a bet on them. Where there's other companies out there where it's just you're just gonna have a 1099 job, which is fine, but it's also you're working for free right away and not actually getting paid. And if you get paid quarterly and you're at a 1099 job, that probably isn't the best from what I can tell you. So I highly advise against doing something along those lines and finding a company that has a base plus commission. And obviously if you're just getting into sales, I'd also probably recommend maybe staying away from insurance. Said that beforehand, but still just something to kind of keep in mind. It can be very lucrative if you wanted to, but you also have to be passionate about selling insurance, because it's the reason why I'm in software, is because I'm passionate about software sales. I really enjoy it. I really love it. I also do make videos like this, and I also have other anime review videos and things along those lines, because I also find that to be fairly exciting as well. The second thing though is sales did allow for me to like be able to take all the time off. And then when I was running my numbers from my new job from this one quarter that I was at, and why I wanted to take all the time off and see, like, I believe that if I take off all this time, then what I can do is, like, as soon as I get back into like a sales job, which that took a little bit of time, I think I had applied to 150, 160 like different places, and over the course of like 3 or 4 days had like 4 or 5, maybe 6 interviews or so. I got 4 to 5 offer letters at that point in time, and that was just something I was able to do. And I ended up deciding to go with the company that was offering me the highest base and the highest commission structure as well too. That also allowed for me to have more growth, which I'm grateful for that. Because even seeing like where my base was at, like I think my very first job before I was even sales was like 32, and then went up to 38, and then it went up to 45, and then 55, then 50, 55. Now it's at 62, and that's in thousands. And this is, I'm saying this more to like anybody in their early 20s or whatever it may be, or if like you're just getting started out. You have to go out and acquire the skills first before you can actually get paid at that level. That's why like I was able to take off the 2 years, basically a year and a half more or less. Year and a half, and still be able to get a higher base than I had originally. Because also when I had left the company, my base or my OTE I think was like, and it was more because I had a higher comp structure at that point in time. And they might have also given me a base, but I can't remember off the top of my head, because I think my OTE was like around 130. OTE, for anybody that isn't aware, is on-time earnings. So I think it was around 130 to 160 or so with the new comp structure and the numbers that they had in mind. And at the time, like I would have renegotiated that and be like, hey, I want to have a higher commission structure. Like I'd rather get paid out more on the deals that I do close. But like I'd already decided even before that meeting had happened that I was going to be leaving the company, which that was just something that I knew I needed to do, because for a very long time I told myself like I was going to retire young, which in a sense, like I did retire young for 18 months. I didn't really do any work. Like, yeah, I was making like videos and like trying to become a YouTuber, but also at the same time, like I don't think that's really what I was doing. Because if it was really what I was doing, and this is actually something I'm just kind of coming to right now, if that was something I was truly doing, then I would have made it work. But I think I did just genuinely want to like quote unquote retire early for 18 months, year and a half. I think that was more of what it was at the end of the day. It wasn't me trying to become this big like YouTube star or whatever it was, because if it was, I would have been busting my balls in different ways. And don't get me wrong, like I tried and I tested some different stuff out, but at the end of the day, like as soon as I got back into sales, it was just like me asking questions of all the other people, me like pinging others to like ask them how they had done their stuff, listen to videos on the calls. Which if you're wanting to get good at sales, that is something that I highly recommend you do, is like make sure that either, if there is, and every company should be recording calls. I'm still trying to convince them to record my phone calls, but they only record Teams meetings, because apparently how the company's structured and where it's at, it kind of makes it a little bit harder for them to do something like that, which is a little frustrating. So I can't listen to as many like calls as I would like from other people. I've also just been like super busy as well too, of like having customer meetings, so I haven't been able to like listen to calls as much as I would like from other people. I was also kind of just trying to learn the ins and outs and the flows of things, because the first quarter from what I had, I was on ramp for 2 of those months. So I was like, I don't want to like go like 100% or whatever it was. So I was like, let's just go like maybe 60 to 70% or so, which that still got me a massive amount of a paycheck, which was incredible. And that's why, like what I was saying earlier, is sales quite literally from one paycheck literally brought my bank account. And I know I'm saying literally a lot, but it's like it physically, literally brought my bank account from zeros in all 6 of my accounts, almost all 6 of my accounts. I had a couple grand from like the base pay that I was receiving in the interim from like before I ended up receiving my quota or my commission check. Dude, I want to move over. But as soon as I got that commission check, dude, honestly, like it brought my account from 0 up to like 14K. Just like that, just with the snap of a finger. And yeah, sure, it took me 3 months and some extra energy and things along those lines, but that was the thing that I needed to do, and I'm grateful that I did it, because now, like, if I really wanted to, and I'm not going to, not by any means, but like if I really wanted to, I could just be like, oh, I'm taking off another like 3 months or whatever it is, and I would make that 14K like last me for the next like 3 months or whatever it may be. It's just right now the role that I have, it can be very lucrative, and I can have probably some of the biggest paychecks that I've had in my entire life up until this point. which in turn will help me have even larger paychecks moving forward within the next steps. So I'm kind of leaning much more towards those type of things that I'm trying to figure out. And I was talking about this a couple days back, where it's like trying to come up with these different ideas or different ways of being able to reach the level of income or sales that I need to close in a given quarter to be able to get the paycheck that I would like to have. And I understand that it takes a little bit of time to be able to do that, but this is the great part about sales is one of those it's not even one of those, it's a career path that you get out what you put in. So like if you're putting in high quality work, or you're putting in like high quality time or whatever it may be, like you will get high quality returns. You can put more in, you're gonna get more out. And I kind of relayed this in a different video as well too, but it's just like, if you share, like you're just planting seeds everywhere. You're just planting seed after seed after seed after seed, and whatever happens from there is gonna be the thing that happens. But one of those seeds is gonna grow. Maybe 2 of those seeds, maybe 3, maybe 15, maybe 20. One of them is bound to grow. As long as you keep watering it and you keep tossing out different seeds, something is gonna grow from it. You might not know what or when or how, but something will. And this is why, like, I'm such a big proponent, and like even talking with other people and strangers and things along those lines, because like you never know what word or what phrase or what thing could be said to be able to inspire somebody else to go out and do something on their own. To me though, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat that I can have something along those powers, or that gift or whatever it may be, that insight. So being able to share like my sales success and I guess like how I was able to get here, I can kind of talk about that as well too. Maybe I can talk about that in later videos. A big portion of it is just staying on top of like your follow-ups and staying consistent with what you do each and every single day. Like if you do that, you're bound to succeed. At least that's how it's worked for me. Obviously you need to be personable, you need to ask questions, you need to not talk as much, you need to listen to what the prospect wants, what the customer wants, and then from there give them that thing that they're asking for, because they're already interested in the product. So it's just like, can the product solve the problem that they supposedly have? And obviously there's going to be some people in there that are just going to be like, sometimes not necessarily wasting your time, because anytime that somebody doesn't buy from you, I look at that as a learning opportunity to figure out, why did they not buy from me? What did I not show them? What did I not ask? What did I not provide to them to be able to ensure that they get the most out of the tool or the experience or the software, or the program or the course or whatever it is? Like, what did I not give to them? And obviously there's always going to be people as well too that are not going to be huge fans of the thing that you're doing. They're going to be like, this is terrible. But then there's going to be those other people that are like, we absolutely love this. This is the best thing that's ever happened since sliced bread. Like there's always going to be both sides to that coin. And if you want to make a lot of money in a short period of time, and this isn't me saying that like you're going to get rich quick by any means by becoming into sales, because like, dude, it took me 4 or 5 years or so. And I was like reading sales books, I was asking questions, I was finding like sales mentors and things along those lines. And I was like just being like a sponge and absorbing quite literally every little thing that I possibly could to ensure that I was like prospering in the way that I wanted to. I also did video editing for like 3 or 4 years prior to ever even getting into sales. But like as soon as I did get into sales, like I said at the beginning of the video, I was in the same, like I was in the lowest tier where I was only making like $1,650 a month, because they had capped the commission. So I was only making that for about 7 months, 6.5, 7 months or so. And then I got promoted up to the next one where I was making, I think it was around like $2,000 or so a month, which was also pretty solid. I think I got also 2,500. And then I got promoted again after 3.5 months in that role to when at that point, then I was making like around 5 to 10K-ish or so. 10K was on the high end per month, and then 5 was on the low K, and this is gross, not net, so keep that in mind. That's not things that other people will tell you online, at least from what I've been able to see. So I figure I might as well relay that to you right now. And yeah, it's a matter of staying consistent. Now, like with the new sales role that I'm in, it's like my first 3 months I was on a non-refundable ramp, which if you don't know what that is, that just means that you get the money as if you hit 100% a goal, and you don't have to pay it back to the company. Where a refundable ramp is like, you still have to pay it back to the company, even if after the following months. They do that to kind of give you an advance as if you had closed the deals. But it's like, I'd rather have them, like, me keep the money, kind of like I was able to for this company, which is nice. And being in this role too, like, dude, I was able to close over like, I think it was 426 or 36% of quota for the single month, because the first 2 months, like, I was kind of just like building up the book, like just kind of asking questions, learning as much as I possibly can within like the first 3 months. But like we had 2 months that we were on quota, so I ended up doing that for a little while, which was really super helpful. And then from that point forward, basically, dude, what I ended up doing was just kind of staying consistent and on top of everything that I needed to stay on top of, and surprisingly, like, closed deals. And I just answered email responses and gave people calls from time to time and just stayed consistent with my follow-up. And in the process of doing so, like, I was able to become and be brought into a different, not even a different, but I was able to be brought up into, like, change my financial situation in the matter of like 3 months. So I wouldn't consider sales like a get rich quick scheme. I just consider sales like, if you're good at it, you can earn a lot of money doing sales, compared to like all these other people online that I've seen that are like promising like, oh, do day trading, do XYZ, do I don't know, digital marketing or whatever it is. Which that shit works, but it's also like, I just don't see them doing as much as like they've done it themselves. And maybe it's because like, and maybe this is what's gonna happen with me too, is like, it becomes so lucrative where you're like, well, I'll just do this instead of the thing that I was doing beforehand, because more people seem to like buying the education compared to something else. So we'll see how all of that goes. But for the most part, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go have maybe some food at this barbecue thing or whatever it may be, and then go to another like birthday celebration thing as well too. So may continue this tomorrow, something like that, but I want to have some actual visuals to show you so you can see what I'm talking about. I can also, if I have to, not even if I have to, but if you ask, I could always share like certain pay stubs as well too, to know like that I'm not capping on this, because I feel like a lot of people don't do that and they can just write numbers down. But I confirmed all my numbers today and I was like, okay, that's where I'm at. It's crazy, dude. It's just crazy with what sales can do for a person's life. So yeah, I'll chat with you soon.